What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin, and let's beat down the dead horse. This, I said I would talk about this Sunday, and I never got around to it. And if you want to be literal, it's Tuesday, 12:34 Eastern Standard Time. As I'm doing this video, and the topic in question is the whole team achievements ring argument when comparing individual players, or how good a player was. This whole thing started with the Sunday game between the Green Bay Packers and San Francisco 49ers. And, every time the Green Bay Packers play, there are people that dislike Tom Brady, and there are Tom Brady fanboys who always compare the two players. They always compare the two players, obviously because, these guys are still playing great football. Tom Brady's 38 years old, still playing great football, and Aaron Rodgers is a beast. He's been playing really good, especially without a star receiver and receivers getting hurt all around him. He's still been playing good football, and that's a big reason why, because people are debating who's the best quarterback in football, and that's fine. People want to talk football, and you comparing two great players, so I think that's debating that's fine. But the problem creeps in is when people use, you debating numbers, which that's what you should be debating. You're debating numbers. You're debating competition. What teams your quarterback is going up against, what defenses your quarterback is going up with necessarily, and obviously the lack of players that's around you. Do you have more? Does the player has more help? Does he have less help? That's you get these people that really talk about that, then you get the idiots that come in. Tom Brady has 4 rings, Aaron Rodgers has 1. But that's when it gets bad, because then people talk about you shouldn't talk about it. And then people say, well, who makes the most play? I heard that who makes the most plays on offense? Well, obviously it's the quarterback, but answer this: if a receiver is not catching the ball, how are those plays getting made? If the offensive line is not protecting the quarterback, how are those plays getting made? A quarterback can't throw the ball on his back. So it's a lot that goes into it. You got the coaching staff calling the plays, and you got, if you want to look at the other side of the ball, special teams that have affected games negatively or positively for a particular team. Defense. Can your defense get off the damn field? Things like that. Just so much that affects a football game. It's different from basketball, where you can say an individual player has more impact, but even still, with that, there are many different things that go into a basketball. Winning a ring as a basketball player or as a team. But back to football. Even if we go to some other ring arguments, most people that bring up Montana don't talk about his numbers. You got the people that do. For the most part, people talk about him because he has 4 rings. If he didn't have 4 rings, no one would talk about him. Fact. That's a fact. No one would bring him up if he didn't have 4 rings. Surprised people don't bring up Terry Bradshaw. Maybe it's going a little bit too far back, but I've heard people use him as like. I've legitimately heard people say he was one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time because he has 4 rings. And guys like Dan Marino, because they don't have, because he doesn't have a ring, he's not really remembered. Or when people talk about him, they say he was, he couldn't win a ring, so obviously he's not a good quarterback, which they would be completely wrong. It goes to show you that people don't take the time to research the game. They don't take time to look at older games, or hell, you got people that don't even look at games that come on today. You got these people who, when a game's over, they look at a box score and say this quarterback had this numbers without looking at the game, without looking at how the offensive line protected the quarterback or didn't protect the quarterback. What about drops? People don't look at that shit. People look at the box score. They look at, of course, what the game was, the final score. They look at stats, touchdowns, passing touchdowns, interceptions, just normal stats like that. And I think looking at stats is fine, but especially with football, so much that goes into it that do not show up under that box score. you have to watch those games. And you got a lot of people that don't watch the games who try to debate football. You don't watch. I'm gonna tell you like this: if you debate me with football and you don't watch the games, please don't. Please stop. Because I don't want to hear from someone that doesn't watch the games. I sit down and watch the games on the now $100 Game Pass. But I didn't really want to focus on basketball because I think I'll be narrowed down. But the argument is still stupid. When you go with basketball, it's even worse with football because you got a 53-man roster. At least 40 plus players affect the game, especially if you got injuries and other players have to step up and make plays. There's so much that goes into it, and a quarterback, and this is the problem with when people talk about quarterbacks. Quarterbacks gets majority of the credit, and when they win, and get the majority of the blame when they lose, depending on who it is. If it's Tom Brady, for the most part, unfortunately, it's like this. I'm not even going to blame Patriot fans because there are a lot of fans who do not like the Patriots to just like Tom Brady. And when he wins, gets all the credit. When they lose, someone else gets blamed, or a group of players, defense, the entire defense gets blamed. Offensive line gets blamed. The receivers weren't catching the ball, weren't getting open. Someone else gets blamed, and I think it's because the Patriots just won the Super Bowl. They got a lot of new fans, and it's unfortunate because they make the good fans look bad. But looking at the this whole rank argument, it's the lowest common denominator. This ESPN, NBA TV, NFL Network has gotten pretty bad. Not as bad as ESPN. Neither one of those are bad as ESPN. But it's this argument. People look at First Take and trash like that with these guys. Lowest common denominator. Some of these guys' debates suck. They bring up the lowest common denominator, how many rings a guy has, or a lot of these guys don't even watch the fucking games. They'll look at how many wins. People use that as well because people have used that so much against Peyton Manning. They'll look at his playoff record. Oh, because a quarterback wins by himself. Then they'll bring up Tom Brady's playoff record because, when he came in, go look at his first Super Bowl and tell me he was the reason they won. Go look at his. Yeah, he made a drive late in the game, but for the most part of that game, he was mediocre. That is a fact. You go look at the game. A lot of these people haven't even seen that game. A lot of people. I've talked to so-called Patriot fans who haven't even seen their first, the first three Super Bowls, their first three Super Bowls that they won, the ones with Brady. They haven't even seen them. They haven't went back and seen them. I understand you're a younger fan, you didn't see it. Why don't you go back and watch it? If you were a fan of football, go back and watch that game. Go back and watch those games. You're a fan of that team. But, a lot of people try to talk about the game, don't know what the fuck they talking about. And then, they bring up Peyton's records without watching any of his early playoff games as a Colt, where, yeah, he's had bad games. All these guys have had bad games, but there are times where the defense gave up a score late in the game and lost in the game. The receiver didn't catch the ball. Look at it like this. Go look at Marvin Harrison's playoff numbers and tell me how many touchdowns he had. I'm not gonna tell you. Just go look it up. There you go. And he was one of the best receivers Peyton's ever had. Now, I'm pretty much done with this. There was something else I want to say, but fuck it. I'm gonna end this video. Let me know what you think about this whole team achievements. I know a lot of my subscribers, a lot of people I follow on Twitter. Most of them are very smart sports fans. Understand that when you're doing team sports, not an individual sport like boxing or MMA, tennis. When you're doing a team sport, there's so much that goes into it that I don't think just your normal average fan doesn't see. They just see quarterback. They just see specific positions. They don't see what goes into it. it's like they don't want to learn about the sport. But let me know what you think down in the comment section. Of course, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe. Thanks for watching.